Hi everyone, it's Evangeline here at etrailer, and today we'll be taking a look at our CURT Premium Hanging Style Bike Rack right here on our 2021 Ford Bronco. This is a hanging style bike rack, which I think is probably going to be the most family-friendly bike rack that we have here at etrailer. Why do I say this? Well, this can carry 4 or 5 bikes depending on which one you get, and it has this tapered end. So if you have your children's bikes, this is perfect because then you're less likely to get them all tangled up in the arms. Makes it easier to carry around, makes it easier to load and unload those bikes. So we're going to take a look at some of the different specs, different measurements, different features of this bike rack, but we'll focus on how it works right here with your Ford Bronco. This has a weight capacity of about 45 pounds per bike. So if you have the 4-bike version, it's a weight capacity of 180 total. The 5-bike version has 225 pounds total, which is really good because that's a fair amount more than your traditional hanging style bike rack. So the way your bike is held up on this bike rack is we have 3 mounting points. So 1, 2 right here on the top tube, and then we have the 3rd, which works as our anti-sway cradle. So you see how it sways now with that attached. We could have actually gotten it a little bit tighter, but without that, look at how much more sway it is. Very important when you have multiple bikes up on there because you want to reduce the sway of bike to bike contact. So you just pull on that strap, lift it out of the tab, and just like that, you can now lift your bike up, bring them through the arms, over there. Now you're ready to go on a bike ride. Now I am using this with a hitch extender. This is the Yakima straight shot. It adds about 7 1/4 inches. If you have a spare tire on your Ford Bronco, you are going to need a hitch extender unless you have an aftermarket hitch, which is further out. So I currently have a spare tire and the factory tow package, and I needed this hitch extender to use an accessory like this bike rack. But remember that with the use of any hitch extender, your weight capacity decreases by half. The good news is that with the CURT Premium 4 bike rack, even if you completely load it up with all the bikes, you still won't go over half of the weight capacity of your current hitch. With the bike out of the way, we get to take a closer look at the bike rack itself. We have 4 cradles here. If you get the 5-bike version, it's going to be the exact same, but with 3 smaller cradles. So these have 3 straps. Those go over your frame. You can rotate this cradle in order to get the best fit depending on your frame size. So if there's one thing that this does really well, it allows you to adjust it to fit your needs. The cradles themselves sit about 5 inches away from each other, center to center. The larger cradles sit about 8.5 inches away from the shorter cradles. And if you have the 5-bike version, it just adds another one over here. So it does add a fair amount of length to the back of your vehicle. Measuring from our rear bumper on our Ford Bronco to where we have those nice plastic reflectors, it sits at about 45.5 inches. And the 5-bike version will add 5 inches to that. Definitely a measurement to keep in mind whenever you're backing into your garage or trying to park into a tight spot. Don't forget that you have your bike rack as well as your bikes behind you. Another measurement we sometimes do is ground clearance. In our case here, since it is a hanging rack, that's not going to be a big deal. One thing would be though that this does sit kind of high up. If you're going to have difficulty lifting your bikes onto the hanging rack, something worth considering. It's not the tallest I've ever seen, but again, I'm only 5'2", so most of these racks are tall for me. And when you're not planning on taking your bikes out for a ride, but you also don't want to take your bike rack off, what you can do is move this into the compact or portable position. See this pin over here? If you just take off that clip, and then you're able to remove the pin, you can then drop the arms down. And then that pin pops back into place, and then secure it again with the clip. So let's take some measurements in the portable position. Remember that we have a hitch extender that adds a little over 7 inches to the back of our hitch. So the closest point is going to be from where our backup camera is to where that anchor point for our cables are going to be. So that's going to be 2 inches of distance, plenty of clearance there. The length now added to the back of our Ford Bronco is from the bumper where we measured earlier to the end of the bike rack. It's 20¼ inches. Big difference compared to when the arms were folded up. You'll definitely want it in this position when you're just driving around town. But let's talk about what it's like living with this behind your Bronco. This sits all nice and neat inside your spare tire. It does cover some things though. It does not cover your rear window. It does not cover your tail lights. It sits right where your back light is. But one thing it does really cover is going to be your backup camera. It's right there in the center. You're definitely going to see it through your view. The good news is you'll still be able to see through your rear window though. This bike rack does tilt away, although you can only do it with the bikes off. So let's take a quick look at that just to see how much clearance we actually get on the Bronco. So you have to loosen this knob, and that will allow you to loosen this pin and then lift up on this latch. There we go. So it drops down to a deep tilt, but look at where our mast is. Let's see if we have enough clearance for our spare tire. Okay, so we can open it up a fair amount of distance. This allows us to get into our trunk, grab whatever we need really quick, and then close that again. So remember, you can only do this with the bikes off, and just a nice, quick, and easy way to access your trunk. This has a 2-inch shank, and again, I am using a 2-inch hitch extender that fits into my 2-inch factory hitch. This tightens down with its own anti-rattle bolt. So make sure that your extender has an anti-rattle bolt to fully utilize the bolt that is on the CURT Premium. It does not have a lock, but you can add a cable lock since you have an anchor point in the back. It does include a tool to tighten it down, but I recommend doing what I do, and I use a 3/4 inch socket wrench, so much faster that way. But to demonstrate how that anti-rattle bolt works, as I shake our bike rack just to mimic that road sway, road vibration, notice how I'm just really moving the Ford Bronco at this point because all of our connections are secure. This is going to be helpful because then you're going to help reduce the sway of your bikes. You're still going to have the road bumps, you're still going to have the actual road vibration, but nothing extra from an improper fit. So my personal thoughts about this bike rack is if you are looking for an affordable bike rack that's really good for a family of cyclists, so you have your 2 grown-up bikes here, you have your smaller children's bikes towards the end, this is going to be a really good option for you. Still, you don't get the same kind of premium features as you would if you had a platform rack, but this also takes up less space and is more affordable than a larger platform rack like, say, the Hollywood Rack's Destination. That would be a good platform rack for a family as well if you want the stability of a platform and you want the other premium features. But as you can see with this one, it did really well with the tilt away. We still had a good amount of access to our door. Couldn't open it up fully, but that's just how it is with the spare tire. Remember, if you do have a spare tire on your Ford Bronco, I highly recommend taking a look at our hitch extenders. I'm currently using the Yakima Straight Shot, and that's adding about 7 inches to my current hitch. Here on our test course, we'll start by going through the slalom. This is going to show us the side-to-side action, which simulates turning corners or evasive maneuvers. Once we get to the alternating speed bumps, we'll see the twisting action. This will simulate hitting a curb or a pothole or driving over uneven pavement. Now lastly, we're going over some full speed bumps, and we can see here the up and down action. And that was a look right here at our CURT Premium 4 or 5 hanging style bike rack right here on our 2021 Ford Bronco.